not getting audio. There we go. We got checking the audio. KCBS, let me know if you have audio. Mic check for KCBS. Mic check for KCBS. Good to go? Nothing for NBC's good? Okay, good.
And it's also a lot easier to get the stage back for 1 year gap than a 5 year gap.
Hey, folks here for the press conference, if I could have your attention for a moment. Folks here speaking for the press conference and in attendance from transit agency. We're going to get started here pretty soon. Mr. Powers.
Your audio, thumbs up, good. We're going to get started here. We're on a tight time schedule. So we'll get started. I'll introduce Andy Vermeer from the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. Andrew?
Well, thank you, and thanks everybody for coming. I'm Andrew Vermeer. I'm the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. And you're probably wondering why we're out here having a press conference on a Friday afternoon. Well, a couple of times a year, a lot of the GMs, the general managers of our operating systems, get together and ride the system. They talk about the way you transition from mode to mode, and they invited me along as long as I pay my fare. So we're going to be taking a trip from this station onto a Tri-Delta bus. And then just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Earth Day, and it's really a reminder that California cannot meet its climate goals unless we do something about getting people into transit. And part of that involves really aggressively trying to keep transit operating. And so we know that around the Bay Area, our ability to support the network is really in jeopardy. In particular, this BART station and others are really suffering from the effects of the pandemic and the changes in travel patterns. And while our trains, our buses, our ferries are attracting more and more people, it's gradual and it's not happening fast enough to really provide the fiscal reliability that we need. So that's why the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, the California Transit Association, all of the transit agencies up and down the state of California are urging the legislature to pass a new budget that supports transit operations to help pay for the drivers and the mechanics, all the crews that clean and fuel the equipment, and to keep us going so that we have a multi-year transit recovery program that we can count on. Our goal is to ensure that the California transit systems most at risk are supported first, and that we provide customer-focused solutions that really encourage riders to come back and use the system. As we know, we've been working on very directly some programs that are really designed to hit that. So we have several pilot programs that are in place that are trying to deal with mapping and wayfinding to make transitions easy. We're testing and improving the Clipper fare payment system. We also want to refine the discount policy processes that we have and integrating paratransit into the Clipper card program. But look, it's not just about what we're doing trying to find money. I'd like to introduce my friend and partner who's in charge of this long train and this long strange trip we're on, Mr. Bob Powers, the general manager of BART.
Thank you, Andy, for those very kind words. So first, let me just thank Andy Vermeer. Andy Vermeer is the new executive director for the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and he has just hit the ground running and partnering with the transit operators as we face this fiscal cliff. So thank you so much for that, Andy. Wanted to thank all the operators standing behind me right now, all the general managers who are here supporting public transit. Thank you for taking time out of your day for this event here. And then I wanted just to call out Jim Wonderman. Jim Wonderman is standing behind me. He's the head of the Bay Area Council, and it's the partnership with MTC, the operators, and the Bay Area Council that is going to help navigate this fiscal cliff that we're in the middle of right now. So as Andy said, we had the first one of these transit ride-alongs in September. And it was a hit. It was a hit on social media. So many people packed on the trains and on the buses that we were on the ferry coming back, and we all ended up. And it was just a great interaction between the riders and the general managers. We learned a lot. We listened. And this is our second one, and we want to take advantage of that. We're listening to our riders, and we want to encourage the public to ride our systems out there. As a reminder, you know, at the heart of any region's economy is public transit, and as goes public transit, that's how the economy goes. And yesterday was BART's highest ridership in 2023. And, that's great. And we had a few events going on. We had the Warriors, we had nice weather, we had the Giants in town, we had 420. And, it's that type of economic engine and the partnership with public transit that's going to, help jumpstart the economy in public transit here. So it's not enough that we're doing these ride-alongs. Each of the operators behind me standing here are also doing our part to make the system make the systems, plural, more reliable, make them safer, make them better connected. And whether it's our time meets between AC Transit and BART, or BART and Muni, or County Connection and BART, County Connection and AC Transit, we're looking at that. We're looking at our schedules on how when we sign up for labor and our service plans there. And so all of that coordination is going on right now. And so I wanted to just reassure the public that coordination and our systems are more aligned right now than they ever have been. And with that, I would like to introduce Bill Churchill. And this is a pleasure for me to introduce Mr. Bill Churchill of County Connection. He was just promoted to the position at the end of 2021, right in the heart of COVID. He has 25 years with the agency, which is just an obvious indicator of his commitment to public transit. So with that, Bill.
Well, Bob, thank you for those kind words. I kind of wanted to shift the discussion a little bit and talk about how the small operators and the large operators really work together to create a fabric of transportation blanketing the entire Bay Area to provide transportation options to all the communities we serve. And in order to make that work and effective, all the general managers throughout the entire Bay Area meet every week. It seems surprising, but we meet every single week to ensure the integrity and the effectiveness of this entire network. So when Bob mentions that we're working on these connections, we're improving them, we're working on figuring out where people need to go now, we are actually doing that in the back room every single week. So I wanted to give that same assurance to the Bay Area and the public at large that this is an effort that we take seriously and we're working on very hard. Here at County Connection, 99% of every trip operated begins and ends at a BART station. And what's great about that is a rider, when they arrive at a BART station on one of my buses, they can choose to transfer to another bus to complete a local trip. I'll wait while my bus goes by. Or they have the option to transfer to a BART train and make that longer regional trip, providing clearly a profound amount of flexibility for anybody within this area in using public transit as a whole. One thing I wanted to talk about, that leads to how we cooperate, and I wanted to give a couple examples. So in order to make this system work well, one great example is BART actually provides County Connection with their raw train schedule data that County Connection folds into our scheduling software so that we can schedule buses to meet trains in the most effective way possible. Another method of cooperation that's incredible in the Bay Area is if BART needs to do maintenance work on a track, or there's an emergency and a BART train can't roll for some reason, all the bus operators step up, provide bus bridges connecting those BART stations that are affected in order to ensure a minimum of disruption to BART passengers. I have to say I'm proud of our partnership with BART and the collaboration that we have created to minimize and really protect transportation within the Bay Area as a whole. One final thing I wanted to mention, the last leg of our trip is going to be on an inductively charged battery electric bus for County Connection. It is the first inductively charged battery electric buses in the United States. And I can't help it, this is my theme. It's another shining example of the cooperation between large operators and small operators, because those inductively charged units that power the buses are located at Walnut Creek BART. and they've been providing transportation to downtown Walnut Creek since 2016. And that project could never have happened without the cooperation and support of BART. So next, what I'd like to do is introduce my good friend, Rashidi Barnes. He is a brand new General Manager and CEO of Tri-Delta Transit, and we are phenomenal partners in working together and providing transportation in Contra Costa County. Rashidi?
What Bill didn't say is that I used to actually work for him. And so I'm happy to be in this position now. As Bill said, I'm the new CEO for Tri-Delta Transit. I've been in this position for about 6 months now. One of the things that I've realized is that Eastern Contra Costa County has so much opportunity to grow. Between 2000 and 2020, East County has grown nearly 50%, and that growth won't stop. So from Pittsburgh to Bethel Island, all the way out to Byron Airport, it's our collective job to deliver a sustainable, flexible, multi-modal mobility network that serves the population of East County. So this concludes identifying faster ways to get people from their homes in BART, potentially alternative transportation like a ferry system up to Carquinez Strait, and other modes of transportation on Highway 4. So once again, thank you guys for this opportunity. And next, I want to introduce April Chan. She's the new, as well, GM and CEO of San Mateo Transit District. April?
Good afternoon. I feel like we're a number of new general managers and CEOs. So good afternoon. I'm April Chan. I am the general manager for San Mateo County Transit District. I think I am one of the few, including Jeff Tumlin here in the background, in terms of coming from the peninsula and the city. But I think that shows you in terms of the transportation network that we have here in the Bay Area. It really covers the gamut here. We need to go from place to place. I actually wanted to use an example. I'm going to use my mother. My mother is going to turn 80 this year. She takes multiple transit systems, and she cannot just rely on one. She takes a Samtrans bus from her house in Daly City. She then goes she goes over to the Daly City BART station, and then from the Daly City BART station, she rides it into the city, and then she rides the SFMTA, the newest T line, to get to Chinatown so she can get her fresh vegetables. I have to say, this is so important. We are a connected network. It's not something that we can just take away a piece and we are still going to be okay. We work together. I think we heard some of the examples, and I want to share one of the things that we're working on very closely amongst all of the general managers is the work that we do in terms of how we can make the fare system a lot easier. Besides the Clipper, we are looking at a number of fare integration programs where either students or workers, you can just use one pass and you can get to wherever you need to go. And these are the various things that we're doing. This fiscal cliff for the transit operators is real. We really need to reach out to the state and ask them to help us the next couple of years as we get our footing firm again, so that we can recover the riders that we have lost. So with that, I'm going to hand this thing back to Mr. Vermeer.
Well, I'd actually like to go off script a little bit and offer an opportunity for Jeff Tumlin to come up and say a few words from San Francisco MTA.
Thank you, Andy. I'm Jeff Tumlin. I'm San Francisco's Director of Transportation. Here in California, nearly half of our greenhouse gas emissions come from the transportation sector. And of that, 70% comes from private motor vehicles. It's going to be a beautiful weekend in San Francisco, and I invite all of you to take BART or Caltrain or Samtrans or AC Transit or Golden Gate Transit or the ferries or Greyhound into San Francisco when you arrive in San Francisco to enjoy 21 miles of new transit-only lanes that we have built over the last 2 years in order to make transit faster than ever. Take Muni wherever you need to go in San Francisco, and if Muni doesn't work for you, take an electric assist Bay Wheels bike that you can rent from anywhere, or a Spin, or Lime electric scooter that you can also rent from everywhere. We have so many ways in which you can travel green, both this weekend here in San Francisco to celebrate Earth Day or every day of the year. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Thank you.
Well, I also get to introduce part of the business community that also does support us and gives us a lot of information and has been surveying the public for a long time. If I could introduce the CEO of the Bay Area Council, Jim Wonderland.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks everybody for being here. And I'm Jim Wonderland, the CEO of the Bay Area Council, a group that's about a little over 75 years old, that's been involved in building the regional transportation system of the Bay Area since its inception. We founded the BART system. We created the ferry system, which I currently chair. We're responsible in large part for the electrification of Caltrain. And so we're advocates for transportation. Why? Because the Bay Area can't be successful without a first-class, world-class transportation system. As Jeffrey said, we can't rely on people just driving their cars or staying home. They need to get out, and they need to do it on mass transit. It's the only functional way we can succeed, and so we've been pushing that for a long time. But there are headwinds, and the good news, as has been stated, is the folks behind me who run these agencies are they're working together, and that's a bit of a nuance. We used to see not as much of that, but the pandemic really brought the transportation institutions of the Bay Area under one roof. So that's a positive thing that came out of the pandemic. I mean, look at these folks. I went to see a great show in San Francisco last night called Dear San Francisco. It's the replacement, you could replace Beach Blanket Babylon. It's a bunch of acrobats. They're amazing what they do. Same thing with the folks behind me. These people are climbing and jumping and juggling and doing whatever they can do to make their systems function without the necessary resources to do it. That's what they're doing now, but the future is really stark if we're not able to generate more money. We know the state is is facing fiscal challenges. I guess everyone is, but we have to prioritize transportation, and particularly transportation operating funds, so that we can invest in a new generation of services that the public can rely on. We need to invest in safety. People need to feel safe when they're using transportation. It needs to be quality all around. And so we're going to fight like heck for that. And we're going to be successful in the end, because it stands to reason that government should make sure that the Bay Area has a world-class transportation system and supports the work of these individuals. So thanks for including me on behalf of the employers of the Bay Area.
So that concludes our formal speaking portion. We're going to ride the train out to Pittsburgh Bay Point and then enjoy some bus trips and some adult beverages perhaps, but a beverage for sure at a pub. So thank you for coming. And we have time for one-on-one interviews, just a little bit of time if you want to do that. I know you would like to speak to Bob. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.